My name is Zola Freeman. I am 58 years old. I taught school for 31 years. I took care of my mother until she passed. I lived with Marcus, my husband, for 29 years in a small house on Elm Street in a quiet town. I thought our life was steady. I thought the one thing that would never change was our little house where every birthday and every storm lived with us. Before I tell you what happened, please do something for me. If you like this kind of story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss the next chapters. Tell me where you are watching from in the comments below. I want to know which part of the country is with me today. If you watch and you like feeling every moment, press like, subscribe, and let me know where you are watching from. The car pulled up in front of the house like it owned the road. Marcus was behind the wheel. I saw him through the kitchen window before the engine cooled. He was laughing the way he laughs when he remembers some long-ago joke. But his laugh did not reach his eyes. Two women sat in the back seat. One of them held a child on her lap. I recognized Marcus before I heard his voice. They walked to the front door together, all of them smiling. The taller woman, the one who held her head like the sky belonged to her, walked straight past the little mailbox and right up the front steps. The other woman followed with a child dangling from her hip. Then two older people came out of the car and stood by the trunk like they planned to stay forever. Marcus opened the gate and let them in like this was a picnic they had been invited to. He called my name the same way he called it when he wanted me to set the table for Sunday dinner. I wiped my hands on a dish towel and went to the door. I had not seen them all before. I had met some faces at church and at the market, but these were new. Marcus took my hand and held it like he used to before the years changed the way he touched me. He said hello and introduced them. He said her name like the name had always been there with his own. This is Jania, he said. This is her mother, he said. This is her uncle. This is her little boy. He spoke like he was giving out parts in a play. I looked at Jania and at the bright small boy with curious eyes, and my hands would not stop trembling. They stepped inside like they were moving in. Jania laughed and walked into my kitchen. She smelled like something new and sharp, like perfume the wind cannot hide. She sat at my old kitchen table and folded her hands the same way my mother used to when she waited for bad news. Marcus put his arm around me and whispered, "Zola, I wanted you to meet them." He said it soft as if the rest of the world should melt around those words. I served tea. I did what I always did when guests came. I held on to the little cup because it made my hands steady. They told stories that sounded like a map to somewhere else. They spoke of Marcus traveling, of small jobs he had done here and there, of a plan to make things right. Jania smiled like the plan was already written on her tongue. Then Marcus told me that he wanted us to start fresh. He said he had spoken with Jania and her family and he thought they could all be together. He said the word family like it was a promise he was making to himself and not to me. At first, the words did not mean anything. I waited for the part where he would say, "But I did not mean that." I waited for him to say the joke and then catch himself and laugh and then say he was only joking. He did not say she is my niece. He did not say she is an old friend. He did not say that he had met her once when he was young. He said nothing that would put Jania away from the name lover. He said nothing that would make sense to the voice in my chest that kept asking why. I remembered the mornings when his keys jingled on the counter. I remembered the nights he came home late and smelled like other places. I remembered how I used to forgive small things and pretend they were lessons and not bad maps. But this was different. He was not coming home alone this time. He came with her and her family like they had already set a table in his heart. I asked him a simple question. How long has this been going on? He took a breath and looked down. He did not look into my face. He looked at the floor like it had all the answers. He said quietly, "A little while." I felt the floor move under me. I could not remember how to stand. Then Jania reached for my hand. Her fingers were soft and warm and they moved like they were trying to learn my lines. She said, "We just want to be a part of things." She said it the way people say please when they hope you will not notice what they are taking. Someone else in the room laughed a small, nervous laugh. The child played with the salt shaker and did not yet know why grown people looked like they were falling apart. Marcus smiled at me with a smile that belonged to a time when promises were small and easily mended. I looked at the faces around my table and thought of every picture I had put on these walls. I thought of birthdays, graduations, casseroles passed at funerals, the way my mother would sit and hum the hymns while she ironed church clothes. How can a life, I asked myself, be changed by someone walking through a front door? But then Jania placed a single paper on the table. It was folded thin and careful. She said nothing while Marcus opened the paper. He read the words without frowning, and then he looked up and his eyes found mine. The paper was a lease, she said. A lease and an invitation. Marcus smiled like he had done something brave. I remember the exact sound the clock made as it stopped in my chest. A lease on our house. An invitation to join. Who had signed a lease? Where had they come up with the money? How had they thought this was a small thing they could ask for? My hands remembered the feel of the house keys. They fit the same as they had always fit. I went to the key hook like a sleepwalker. I lifted the old keys and felt their small weight. I thought of locking the door to a garden we had planted together. I thought about how often I had woken to the sound of rain and found him breathing next to me. I told them the house was ours. I said we were not looking for new family. I said, this is my home. Marcus reached for my hand again and said, we can make room. His voice was softer now, like the someone who speaks to calm a crying child. Jania smiled and said she understood. Her mother offered to bring a casserole next week. Her uncle talked about finding work. They talked as if we were making plans around a table that had never seen sorrow. I watched Marcus trade my certainty for something that looked like hope. Then Jania stood and walked to the window. She pulled back the curtain and looked out on our small yard. She said quietly, you have a pretty yard. We could do a lot with that space. She looked at me and the words felt like a hand on my chest that would not move. I went to the hall closet where we kept the extra blankets. I opened the door and something inside me shifted. The closet had been emptied at some point. There was a small envelope lying on the floor at the back. I had not put it there. The envelope had a piece of paper with a single line written in my own handwriting. Sold. My hands shook when I picked it up. I remembered signing papers in the lawyer office 2 weeks ago. I remembered sitting at a table with a woman who said the words you deserve rest and another who said it will be easier. I remembered the polite hands that counted the money and then slipped it into envelopes and the sound of a pen closing like a final act. I had sold the house while I was thinking about falling asleep and while Marcus was saying he would be gone on a short trip. I had sold it to a buyer who promised to keep the roses by the porch and to plant a vegetable patch in the back. I had signed the papers because I believed I would be leaving soon to stay with my sister and because I trusted Marcus to be patient. I had not planned for Marcus to bring someone back like a guest who never leaves. I held the paper with the words sold as if it might bite me. Jania turned around and saw it in my hand. She smiled like she had expected this all along. Marcus looked like he had seen a ghost. He did not reach for the paper. He did not say anything. The color had left his face. The older lady with him reached out to steady him. Outside, a truck rumbled by and the dog next door barked like it had never been inside before. The child laughed at the barking and looked up at me with honest eyes. I looked at Marcus, at Jania, at the signed sold paper, and then I remembered the words the lawyer had said when I signed. You will be safe, she said. A silence fell heavy as a curtain. I felt like the room had become smaller and the air like the space between two breaths. I looked at Marcus and the question that burned brighter than anything else rose up from my throat. Why did you bring them here if you knew the house was sold? He opened his mouth. He tried to answer. But before he could, someone knocked on the front door. The knock was slow and polite, and it held a kind of certainty like someone who had a right to be there. I walked to the door and put my hand on the knob. I could feel the edge of the house around me. I braced myself for a new name, a new voice. I did not know if it would be mercy or ruin. I turned the knob and began to open the door. The knock sounded again, louder this time. And leaning there on the porch, with a bag in his hand and a driver beside him, was a man I had not seen in 20 years. He looked at me like the past had a check to cash. I swallowed hard. My heart hit the inside of my ribs like someone knocking from the other side. The man said my name. He called me Zola. Then he said a name that made the room tilt. The man on my porch said my name again, slower this time. Zola. His voice was older, deeper, lined with years I had not counted. For a moment, I forgot about Marcus, Jania, their whole parade sitting in my living room. All I could see was the man in front of me. Isaac Turner. My first love. My almost husband. The man I left behind when life pushed me into a different direction. He stood there in a dark coat, holding a small overnight bag. His eyes searched mine like he was checking if time had been kind to me. The driver behind him took off his cap and nodded before stepping back to the car. I did not know whether to hug him, close the door, or fall to my knees and cry. Isaac had gone to Chicago for work when we were young. He wanted to marry me. We planned it all in our heads. But then my mother got sick. I stayed. He went. Life split in two. Behind me, I heard Marcus whisper something under his breath. Jania stood up a little straighter, as if she was smelling something new in the air. The child tugged on her sleeve. Isaac's gaze drifted past me, taking in the strangers behind my shoulder. He lifted his bag and said quietly, "You told me to come today. You sent the message. I am here like you asked." A cold wind ran along my spine. I shook my head. I never sent anything. I had not spoken to Isaac in 20 years. Yet he reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and showed me the screen. A message from a number he still saved under my old contact name. It read, "Come today. I need you. I'm ready to talk." I stepped back. Someone had sent that message. Someone pretending to be me. Isaac looked confused, but hopeful. Marcus looked terrified, like someone had ripped the rug from under his feet. Jania folded her arms, watching everything like she was waiting to see who would win the next round. I motioned Isaac inside, because leaving him on the porch felt wrong, and because the part of me that remembered being young could not leave him standing in the cold. He walked past me, slow, respectful, scanning the house with the careful eyes of a man stepping into a memory. When he saw Marcus, their eyes locked. Two men looking at each other from opposite sides of my life. Marcus finally spoke. "Why are you here?" Isaac answered calmly, "I came because Zola called for me." I felt Jania's eyes slide toward Marcus. Her family stiffened. It was as if Isaac had just dropped a rock into a still lake, and every secret under the surface started to move. Marcus stepped closer, his voice shaking. "Zola, what is going on?" I did not answer. Not yet. Isaac turned to me. "You said you needed to talk about the house. I thought you wanted to move to Richmond with your sister, so I came to see what you needed from me." Jania's lips parted. Richmond. The word tasted like a threat to her. She whispered to Marcus. She was planning to leave. Marcus looked at me as if the truth was something heavy he had been refusing to hold. "You never told me that. You never said anything about leaving." I stared at him. "You never asked." The air grew tight. Isaac stepped to my side, like he believed he belonged there. Marcus noticed. His jaw clenched. To break the tension, Isaac asked gently, "Did something happen with the house?" I opened my hand and showed him the paper with the single word that had changed everything. "Sold." Isaac looked at it and nodded as if he already knew. "I helped her with that. I was the one who connected her with the buyer. She said she wanted peace. Said she needed space from everything that had been draining her." Marcus stopped breathing for a moment. Jania stepped forward, her voice sharp. "You sold the house. When were you planning to tell Marcus? When were you planning to tell us?" Her us cut through me like a blade. I looked at her calmly. "I did not owe you an explanation." Her mother gasped like I had slapped the table. The uncle muttered something under his breath. Marcus looked torn between shame and fear. Isaac watched everyone, protective, still and quiet like a shield. Then Isaac said something that cracked the air open. I think she did the right thing. I think she needed a way out before she drowned in something that was killing her spirit. Marcus's face twisted. Are you saying I'm the one killing her? Isaac didn't blink. You brought strangers into her home. And from the look of things, you brought betrayal too. Marcus stepped forward, fists tight. Isaac didn't move. He stood tall, calm, unshaken. Jania broke the silence with a voice full of annoyance. So what now? You think you can walk back into her life and fix things? This is our home too. Our home. The words made something inside me rise like a storm. This is not your home, I said. The house is already sold. And you walked in here without respect, without shame, and without a single thought about what I needed. Marcus tried to interrupt, but I raised my hand. You made decisions without me. You brought people into my space. You forgot what marriage means. So I made decisions without you. Isaac glanced at me with quiet pride. Marcus's face turned desperate. Zola, you can't do this. You can't just walk away from everything we built. I looked him in the eyes, and for the first time in years, I felt steady. You walked away first, Marcus. You just didn't close the door behind you. Silence filled the room like smoke. Then the doorbell rang again. Everyone froze. Isaac stepped back toward me. I could feel his warmth near my shoulder. Marcus stared at the door like it might swallow him whole. Jania's family shifted nervously. The doorbell rang a second time. I walked slowly toward the door. My heart beat steady now. Strong. Certain. When I opened it, a woman in a tan coat stood there. She held a folder in her hand and wore the calm expression of someone who deals with trouble every day. She asked, "Are you Mrs. Freeman?" I nodded. She opened the folder and said the words that made everyone in the living room stop breathing. "Ma'am, I'm here because someone filed a report. A very serious one. I need to speak with you about your husband. It concerns financial misconduct." Marcus staggered backward. Jania gasped. Isaac looked at me sharply. I tightened my grip on the doorframe. Then she said the sentence that froze the room. "Your husband has been accused of hiding large sums of money under another woman's name. And we have reason to believe that woman is inside your home right now." The room went silent. A deep, heavy silence that felt like it reached down into the floorboards. The woman in the tan coat stepped inside with careful, practiced authority. Marcus looked at her as if she had ripped the breath out of his lungs. Jania's hand shook on the back of the chair. Her family froze like statues. The woman flipped another page in her folder. "My name is Officer Dana Holmes. I work with the Financial Crimes Division. I need to ask a few questions about your husband." Marcus opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked like a child caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Isaac moved quietly to my side, not touching me but close enough to steady me. I didn't speak. Not yet. Officer Holmes turned her attention to Jania. "And you are?" Jania swallowed hard. I'm a family friend." Holmes raised an eyebrow. "Is that right?" Jania nodded too quickly. "Yes, ma'am. We just came to say hello." Isaac looked down to hide a smile that wasn't really a smile. Jania's mother shifted her purse onto her shoulder like she was preparing to run. The uncle stared at the floor. Officer Holmes looked back at me. "Mrs. Freeman, I need to confirm something. Did you authorize your husband to move money from your joint account 2 months ago?" My breath caught. "No," I said. Marcus took a step forward. "Zola, please, let me explain." Officer Holmes didn't look at him. "According to our records, your husband transferred a large sum into an account under the name Jania Merrill." She glanced at Jania. "Is that you?" Jania's face drained of all color. "No. I mean, yes, but I didn't know anything about money being put in my name. She looked at Marcus, her voice cracking. You didn't tell me about that. Marcus's hands shook. It wasn't like that. It wasn't fraud. It wasn't a crime. I needed a safe place to put the money while I sorted things out. Holmes narrowed her eyes. By hiding it under another woman's name. That's not a safe place, sir. That's a felony. Marcus looked at me then. Really looked at me. His face was full of a kind of fear I had never seen on him before. Zola, I did it to protect us. The money needed to be moved out before the bank could freeze it. You know things were tight. I was trying to protect us, I repeated. The word felt poisonous in my mouth. Protect us from what, Marcus? From the life you chose. From the people you brought into my home. Jania stepped forward, her voice shaking. I didn't know he used my name. I swear it. I thought he just wanted to help me and my son get a fresh start. Her son watched her with wide eyes, too young to understand, but old enough to feel that something was wrong. Officer Holmes closed the folder. At this time, I need statements. But I won't make any arrests tonight as long as everyone cooperates. She looked at Marcus. Sir, you will need to come to the station tomorrow morning. Marcus looked at me. Zola, you have to help me. Please. If you don't say something, they'll take everything. My pension. My retirement. Everything. My hands shook, but my voice stayed steady. Marcus, you already took everything. The officer nodded politely to me and turned to leave. Before she stepped out, she paused and looked back. Mrs. Freeman, if you need any help leaving this situation, there are resources available. I nodded, though I didn't feel my head move. When the door closed behind her, no one spoke for a long, long moment. It felt like the house had inhaled and was waiting for someone to let it breathe again. Marcus finally broke. He fell into the nearest chair and put his face in his hands. Jania watched him, but the softness was gone from her eyes. Her mother grabbed her arm. The uncle whispered, "Let's go. Now." Jania's mother turned to me. "I'm sorry, ma'am. We didn't know any of this." I believed her. But believing her did not change anything. Marcus looked up, his voice cracking. "Don't go. Please. Stay. We can fix this." Jania backed away from him. "You said the money was ours. You promised us a new start. You promised we could stay here." Her voice broke on the word stay. The child looked between the adults, confused and scared. Marcus reached for her hand. "Jania, don't do this." But Jania stepped back as if his touch burned. "You lied to me, Marcus. You lied about everything." Isaac watched quietly, arms crossed, steady and unshaken. Jania snatched up her coat, grabbed her son, and motioned her family toward the door. As she left, she paused at the threshold and looked at me. "You deserve better than this. I hope you know that." Then she walked out, closing the door behind her. The silence that followed felt like the whole house exhaled at once. Marcus turned his eyes to me again. "Zola. Please. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I didn't think you'd actually sell the house. I thought you'd wait for me. I thought you'd never really leave." I stared at him. And in that moment, the weight of all the years settled on my shoulders. The nights I slept alone. The trips he took without telling me. The secrets he carried in his pockets. The love I kept patching back together until my fingers bled. Why did you bring her here, Marcus? Why did you drag her family into this house? Marcus's voice cracked. I didn't want to lose her either. The words sliced through me. Clean. Deep. Isaac took a slow breath, anger showing in the tightness of his jaw. He stepped forward. "Zola, you don't have to stay here tonight. Come with me. I'll take you somewhere safe." Marcus jumped up. "No. She's my wife. She's not going anywhere with you." He reached for my arm. Isaac moved before I even noticed, stepping between us. His voice was low. Don't touch her. Marcus looked from Isaac to me, his eyes wild. Zola, please. Don't do this. I can't lose everything in one day. I whispered, you already did. Marcus staggered back like I had slapped him. Isaac gently touched my shoulder. Let's go, Zola. I looked around the house one last time. At the photos on the wall. At the table where I had cooked, prayed, laughed, cried. At the place where my life had lived and folded into itself. Then I walked toward the door. Marcus called my name. I didn't turn around. When Isaac opened the door for me, a cold breeze swept in, lifting the edge of my coat. I stepped outside, into the night, into the unknown, into something that felt strangely like peace. The moment my foot touched the porch, behind me, Marcus shouted something that froze me mid-step. Wait. Zola. There's something you don't know. Something I kept from you. Isaac stiffened. I turned slowly. Marcus's hands shook. His voice trembled. You sold the house. But someone bought it under a false name. Someone who plans to take it from all of us. I stared at him, confused. Marcus swallowed hard. Zola. The house wasn't sold to a stranger. It was sold to someone connected to you. Someone who wants something from you. I felt the night air turn cold. Who? I asked. He took a shaky breath, eyes full of a fear I didn't recognize. Your sister. My sister. The words hit me so hard I forgot to breathe. Isaac turned to look at me, confusion heavy on his face. Marcus stood there trembling, his hands balled into fists, his eyes wild with something between fear and regret. I stepped back into the house without meaning to. My voice came out slow, careful. Marcus, what do you mean my sister bought the house? He ran a shaky hand over his face. Zola, I didn't know how to tell you. I found the buyer's ID during the closing process. The name was different, but the signature. I recognized it. I've seen her write your birthday cards every year. My chest tightened. My sister, Loretta. The sister who barely called. The sister who lived in another state and only showed up when she wanted something. The sister who always saw my life as something she could rearrange when it suited her. But she had never interfered like this. Never crossed a line this deep. I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. Loretta would have told me. Marcus laughed a small, broken laugh. Would she? Or would she do what she always did? Make her plans and expect you to follow them? Isaac stepped closer to me. Is this the same sister you mentioned in your messages before you? He stopped when he remembered he thought I had called him to come here. I nodded weakly. My only sister. The one I once trusted without thinking. Then something else washed over me. A memory. A tiny detail. When I went to sign the papers, the lawyer had said, the buyer asked for privacy. They didn't want their name revealed. At the time, those words felt normal. Now they felt like a warning. I asked quietly, Marcus, why would Loretta buy the house? He hesitated before answering. Because she wants you living with her. She said you shouldn't be alone anymore. She said she has space in her new place. He swallowed hard. She said she'd take care of you better than I could. Isaac bristled. She didn't even ask her. Marcus nodded. She didn't care. She told the agent she's your only real family. She said you'd move quietly once the sale was final. My heart sank. This wasn't help. This was control. Loretta had always tried to run my life. From the men I dated before Marcus, to the way I handled Mama's care, to the job I took when she said it wasn't good enough. She said I didn't know how to choose for myself. I pressed my hand against my chest. The house wasn't taken from me. I gave it away. And now someone in my own bloodline held the deed. Isaac stepped closer. Zola, you don't have to let anyone put you in a corner. Not your husband. Not your sister. Marcus flinched at the word husband. But Isaac wasn't done. You can fight this. You can. Before he finished, my phone buzzed inside my coat pocket. A text message. I pulled it out. The sender's name froze my bones. Loretta Freeman. The message read, I know Marcus is back. I know what's happening. You need to leave that house now. I'm coming to pick you up. I stared at the words, feeling the floor tilt again. Isaac leaned in. What does it say? I handed him the phone without a word. Marcus took a step back, whispering to himself. She knows. She knows everything. Before I could respond, headlights flashed through the front window. A car pulled up outside. Not Isaac's. Not Marcus's. A sleek gray SUV with tinted windows. Loretta. I felt my breath leave me. Isaac whispered, do you want to go with her? I didn't answer. Because the truth was buried under years of love, resentment, fear, loyalty, and exhaustion. Loretta had protected me once. She had also controlled me. And now she was standing outside, ready to reclaim everything she thought she owned. Marcus spoke again, desperation thick in his voice. Zola, please don't go with her. She hates me. She'll try to ruin me. She will tell the police everything. She'll take everything from me. I looked at him. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt clarity. Marcus, I said quietly, you ruined yourself long before today. He looked like the words broke him in half. Isaac rested a hand lightly on my back. Whatever you choose, I'm here. If you want to leave with her, I'll follow behind you for safety. If you want to stay, I'll stay too. It's your life. Your decision. That simple sentence felt like oxygen. My whole life, people wanted something from me. Marcus wanted forgiveness. Jania wanted a home. Loretta wanted control. But Isaac simply wanted me to choose. The SUV door opened. Loretta stepped out. Tall, sharp, confident, polished. She walked toward the house with that same commanding stride she used since we were children. When she reached the porch, she didn't knock. She pushed the door open like she owned it. Her eyes found me immediately. Zola, she said, her voice soft but firm. Get your things. We are leaving. Before I could reply, she turned and saw Isaac standing behind me. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Then she saw Marcus sitting broken in the corner. Her mouth tightened. She stepped fully inside, closing the door behind her. Our eyes met again. Hers fierce. Mine tired. Loretta said, Zola, I bought this house because you are not staying here another day. You're coming with me. End of discussion. I took a single breath. And for the first time in my entire life, I said the one sentence she never expected. No. Loretta blinked. What did you say? I lifted my chin. I said no. I am not going anywhere with you until you tell me the truth. She frowned. What truth? I stepped forward. Why did you really buy my house? Loretta hesitated. Her jaw tightened. And that moment of silence told me more than her answer ever could. Isaac stepped closer, protective. Marcus's breath caught in his chest. Loretta finally spoke. Zola, you need to sit down. There's something you don't know. Something Mama told me before she died. My heart dropped. Loretta's eyes softened with something deep. Something painful. She whispered. This house. It holds something you were never meant to see. Mama asked me to protect you from it. And now it's time you know the truth. I felt the room shift around me. The truth. About my mother. The room fell into a deep, breathless silence. Not even the old clock on the wall dared to tick. Loretta stood in front of me, tall, steady, unshaken, yet something in her eyes trembled. Isaac shifted closer, his hand hovering near my elbow like he was ready to catch me. Marcus sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the floor as if the truth might swallow him whole. My voice felt thin. Loretta, what do you mean something Mama hid? Loretta sighed and closed the door behind her, sealing us all inside. She looked from me, to Marcus, to Isaac, then finally back to me. Zola, she whispered, Mama didn't want you burdened. She told me to keep certain things away from you. She wanted your life peaceful, even when hers wasn't. I frowned. Mama wasn't perfect, but she wasn't secretive. Mama believed in sunlight. She believed in telling the truth so it wouldn't rot. Loretta continued, I didn't buy this house for control. I bought it because Mama asked me to. She wanted me to protect you from what she kept here. My heart beat slower now, heavy like a drum underwater. Mama asked you to do that. Why didn't she tell me herself? Because you were her baby, Loretta said, eyes softening. She thought you were too tender for the weight she carried. She thought I was stronger. I didn't argue. Loretta had always been the strong one. The loud one. The shield. But this was different. Loretta took a slow breath, as if she was choosing her words carefully. Mama left something here in the house. Something she didn't want anyone else to find. She told me only once, the night before she passed. She said, if something ever happened, you'd need to know. She told me to keep the house close, no matter what. Isaac stepped beside me. What exactly did she leave? Loretta hesitated. The pause made my stomach twist. Something was wrong. Something was deeper than she was saying. Before she could answer, Marcus suddenly stood up, his voice raw. Just say it, Loretta. Tell her the whole thing. Stop dragging it out. Loretta turned her head sharply. You don't get to rush me. Not after everything you've done. Marcus swallowed and backed down. It was the most defeated I had ever seen him. Loretta's eyes returned to me. The truth, Zola, is that Mama left an envelope hidden in the house. Not money. Not a will. Something else. My voice cracked. What was in it? Loretta looked away, unable to meet my eyes. I stepped forward, my voice rising. What was in it, Loretta? Isaac's hand touched my arm gently, grounding me. Loretta finally whispered. It was a letter. A confession. About your father. I froze. For a moment, the world tilted. The light in the room dimmed. My breath caught in my throat. My father died before I was born. Mama always said he passed in an accident. She never spoke ill of him. Never complained. Never cried. She celebrated him like he was an angel she borrowed for a moment. Isaac whispered, what kind of confession? Loretta's eyes softened with pain. The kind that changes everything. My knees almost buckled. Isaac reached for me, steadying me with a quiet strength. But I pulled away gently and stood on my own. I needed to. I had to. Loretta continued. Mama wrote that your father was not the man you think he was. He was involved in things. Dangerous things. Things that could have hurt you. Hurt all of us. My throat tightened. What things? Loretta hesitated again. Marcus spoke before she could. Criminal things. Illegal things. Things he kept hidden from your mother until it was too late. Loretta shot Marcus an angry glare for speaking. But I held up my hand. No. Let him talk. I want to hear it. Marcus swallowed hard. He took a shaky breath. The same people who Marcus swallowed again. The same people your father was running from. They came back years later. They never forgot about this house. He looked at the floor. That's why Mama hid everything. That's why she never sold it. That's why she never let anyone near it. She didn't want them to find what your father left behind. My whole body went cold. What did he leave? Loretta whispered. Proof. Papers. Names. Evidence. Enough to put people away for life. And Mama kept it hidden here, under the floorboards in her old room. I stared at her, unable to blink. Isaac whispered, Zola. This is serious. Loretta nodded. The people your father crossed, they don't forget. They don't forgive. And they don't disappear. Mama knew this. She made me promise to protect you. I felt faint. My world, my memories, my understanding of my own life, were all unraveling like threads from a worn cloth. Why didn't you tell me? I screamed it this time. Loretta flinched. Because Mama begged me not to. Because she said you deserved peace. Because I thought, maybe the past had died with her. Marcus shook his head slowly. It didn't. I think they found out the house was being sold. They must have seen the listing. That's why I panicked, Zola. I didn't know how to tell you, but we aren't safe. I looked between Marcus and Loretta, my heart pounding like a train in my chest. Isaac stepped forward. If this is true, we need to find that envelope. We need to know what we're dealing with. Where exactly did Mama hide it? Loretta swallowed. In her bedroom. Under the loose board beneath the left side of the closet. Mama told me only once. She made me swear to never touch it unless you needed it. My legs moved before my mind did. I walked down the hallway, past the framed pictures, past the closed doors, past the memories that suddenly felt heavier. Loretta, Isaac and Marcus followed behind me, their footsteps slow and tense. Mama's room was exactly as she left it. Even though she had been gone for years, the air still smelled like lavender and old music. I stepped into the closet, knelt down, and pressed my fingers against the wood. For a second, nothing moved. Then the board lifted, soft as a sigh. Inside it was a single faded envelope with my name written in Mama's handwriting. My heart squeezed tight. I reached for it. But the moment my fingers touched it, a loud crash echoed from the front of the house. Glass shattered. All of us froze. Isaac whispered, "Someone's in here." Loretta's face went pale. Marcus backed away from the closet. I clutched the envelope, my hands shaking. Something moved in the hallway. A shadow. A slow, heavy footstep. Isaac stepped in front of me. Loretta grabbed my arm. Marcus whispered, "Oh God, they found us." Then a deep voice from the hallway spoke. "Zola Freeman, hand over the envelope." My blood turned to ice. The voice was low, steady, and cold. The kind of voice that didn't need to shout to make the walls tremble. Isaac stepped in front of me immediately, shielding me with his whole body. Loretta grabbed my wrist so tight her nails pressed into my skin. Marcus backed into the corner of the closet, his breath shaking. Footsteps approached slow and heavy, each one echoing through the small hallway like a countdown. Isaac whispered, "Stay behind me. Do not move unless I tell you." I couldn't speak. My throat was locked shut. My heart hammered so loudly I was sure the man in the hall could hear it. The shadow grew larger until a tall figure appeared in the doorway of Mama's old room. A man wearing a dark coat, broad shoulders, a shaved head. His face was calm in a terrifying way. No anger, no emotion, just certainty. Behind him, I heard the sound of glass crunching under boots. That meant he wasn't alone. Loretta gasped. Marcus squeezed his eyes shut like he was preparing to die. The man stepped into the room slowly, eyes fixed directly on me. He didn't even look at Isaac, who stood between us like a wall. Then the man spoke again. "Hand over the envelope, Mrs. Freeman. It doesn't belong to you." Isaac's voice was sharp. "She's not giving you anything." The man smirked faintly, like Isaac's courage amused him. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small silver badge. Not police. Not FBI. Something else. Something unfamiliar. Loretta whispered behind me, "That's the badge Mama told me about." The man heard her. "Smart woman, your mother. But not smart enough to keep that envelope hidden forever." He stepped closer. Isaac tightened his stance. I clutched the envelope to my chest. My entire body trembled. Words barely escaped my lips. "Why do you want it?" The man finally turned his eyes to Isaac, then back to me. Your father collected things he shouldn't have collected. Names. Deals. Locations. He thought those papers could protect him. Or ruin us. Isaac snapped. And you want to destroy the evidence? The man shrugged slightly. Something like that. His calmness made him more terrifying than shouting ever could. Isaac didn't move. If you want that envelope, you'll have to go through me. The man smiled. I planned on it. Before Isaac could react, another man, who had been silent in the hallway, grabbed Isaac from behind, twisting his arm back. Isaac grunted in pain but didn't fall. Loretta screamed. Marcus pressed himself against the wall. Isaac struggled, but the man behind him was strong. Too strong. They wrestled near the doorway, blocking any chance of escape. The first man stepped toward me. Give it to me, Zola. Now. I backed away until my shoulders hit the closet door. My hands shook violently around the envelope. Loretta suddenly stepped in front of me. You're not taking anything from my sister. Her voice didn't shake. Not even once. The man looked at her like she was a fly buzzing near his ear. Move, he said. Loretta didn't move. He took one step closer. Move. She stood firm. The man sighed, annoyed, and reached for her arm. But before he could touch her, a loud voice thundered down the hallway. Let her go. Everyone froze. Isaac lifted his head, still held in a lock. Marcus looked toward the hall with wide eyes. Loretta gasped. And there, standing just inside the broken doorway of the house, was Jania's uncle. But he wasn't alone. Behind him were 3 more men, big, strong, angry, and Jania herself, shaking but determined. Her mother holding the little boy close. All of them staring down at the intruders like they had arrived for war. The first intruder narrowed his eyes. What are you doing here? Jania's uncle stepped forward. She told us what happened after we left. Marcus lying about the money. The officer. The envelope. Everything. We came back because that boy isn't safe. And neither is she. He nodded toward me. My knees weakened. Jania. Had she really returned to help me? The intruder scoffed. This doesn't concern you. Jania's uncle's voice dropped low. Tonight, it does. The room tensed like a rubber band pulled too tight. Everyone stood still for a moment, like the air itself was holding its breath. Then everything exploded at once. Jania's uncle lunged at the man holding Isaac. The hallway erupted into a fight, fists hitting walls, bodies slamming into doorframes. Isaac broke free and shoved the man away. Loretta grabbed my arm. Marcus ducked behind the dresser. The first intruder turned toward me again. Fast, furious, determined to get the envelope. Run. Zola. Isaac shouted. But my legs refused to move. The man grabbed my wrist. I screamed. The envelope slipped from my hand. But before he could snatch it, Loretta grabbed it off the floor and shoved it into the inside pocket of her coat. Then she pushed me behind her. If you want that letter, she said, her voice deep and steady, you'll have to go through both of us. The man charged forward. But Isaac slammed into him from the side, knocking him into Mama's old dresser. The drawer burst open, spilling old hymn books and pictures across the floor. The chaos filled the room. Fists flew. Someone yelled. Someone crashed into the nightstand. The house shook with the force of it. Then, suddenly, sirens. Loud. Sharp. Close. Red and blue lights flashed through the broken window. Someone outside shouted, "Police! Stay where you are." Everything froze. The intruders exchanged terrified looks. The man who had grabbed me hissed under his breath, "This isn't over." Then he and his partner bolted toward the back of the house. Jania's uncle tried to grab one, but they slipped past him and ran out the kitchen door just as 2 police officers arrived through the front. Within seconds, officers flooded the hallway, shouting commands, separating everyone, forcing calm back into the house. I sank to the floor, shaking uncontrollably. Isaac knelt beside me, holding my shoulders gently. It's okay, Zola. It's over. You're safe. Loretta collapsed next to me, breathing hard. The envelope still protected in her coat. Marcus sat in the corner, face pale, eyes wet. Jania moved closer, her son clinging to her neck, her voice soft. Mrs. Freeman. I'm so sorry. I came back because I didn't want anything bad to happen to you. None of us did. I nodded weakly, tears spilling over. The officers asked questions, took statements, secured the house. The tension slowly drained away, leaving behind a thick grief and a heavy truth still waiting in Loretta's pocket. Finally, after the officers left and the house fell silent again, Isaac spoke quietly. Zola, it's time. Loretta reached into her coat. My hands trembled as she placed the envelope into them. Mama's handwriting looked even smaller now. Even older. I held my breath. Slowly. I opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, and what I saw made my heart stop. A name. A place. A date. And one sentence at the bottom, written in Mama's careful, aching script. Zola, if anything ever happens to me, follow this address. The truth lives there. And so does someone who has been waiting for you all your life. Someone waiting for me. My entire world shifted. I whispered, Mama, what did you do? The room felt too small for the truth in my hands. The paper shook between my fingers. Isaac leaned close, reading over my shoulder. Loretta wiped her eyes. Marcus watched me with the same expression people wear when they're praying for mercy they don't deserve. The name on the paper wasn't a stranger's name. It wasn't my father's. It was a woman's name. A name I had never heard in my life. And beneath it, an address in a small town 2 hours away. A handwritten date from over 30 years ago. And Mama's last line. Someone is waiting for you. Someone who loves you. My voice cracked. Mama, who are you talking about? Loretta shook her head. She never told me that part. She only said that if danger ever returned, you needed to know where to go. Isaac placed a steady hand on my back. Do you want to go there? I didn't answer. I couldn't. My throat felt like someone had tied a knot in it. Marcus suddenly stood. Zola, this isn't safe. That address, that name. Whoever it is, they're connected to all this. They could be dangerous. Isaac spun toward him. You had your chance to protect her. You lost that right. Marcus flinched, but Isaac's words were the truth neither of us could run from. Loretta took the paper gently from my hand and studied it again, the way she used to examine puzzles as a child. Then she looked at me with a seriousness that cut through the fog. Zola, Mama carried this secret her entire life. If she said someone was waiting for you, then someone is. And that someone may know more about your past than anyone else ever could. Jania stepped closer, her son asleep on her shoulder now, the boy's tiny hand curled near her neck. Mrs. Freeman, maybe this is your chance to get real answers. Answers nobody else has been honest enough to give you. Her mother nodded behind her. Child, go see who it is. You deserve to know. Even after everything that happened between us earlier, they returned to help me. Now they were urging me toward the truth. Isaac's voice lowered. I'll drive you. I'm not letting you walk into this alone. Marcus ran a hand through his hair. Desperate. Please. Zola. Just listen to me. Don't go anywhere with him. Don't go to that address. Whoever that woman is, she might be connected to those men. She might be the reason they came tonight. I looked at Marcus with a deep, quiet sadness. All these years, you kept secrets from me. And now you want to stop me from finding the truth that doesn't belong to you. He looked shattered. Isaac stepped closer. Zola, it's your choice. Not mine. Not his. Not anyone's. The room held its breath waiting for my answer. I whispered, I'm going. Loretta nodded once. I figured you would. Marcus dropped into a chair like his knees couldn't hold him anymore. Jania's mother took her grandson from her arms, letting the boy sleep on her shoulder. Jania walked toward me, her eyes softer than before. Mrs. Freeman, whatever you find there, I hope it brings you peace. I squeezed her hand. Thank you. When we finally stepped outside, the night air felt heavy, but clean. Isaac walked beside me, protective but not overbearing. Loretta followed behind, arms crossed, always the soldier ready for the next battle. Marcus stood on the porch, framed by the broken door, looking lost. Zola. He whispered, I'm sorry. I paused. Looked at him one last time. Everything between us, the good, the bad, the ugly, rested in that silence. Then I turned away and didn't answer. We got into Isaac's truck. Loretta climbed into the back seat. The engine rumbled to life. As we pulled away, the house, Mama's house, grew smaller in the rearview mirror. Isaac asked quietly, Are you sure you want to do this tonight? I stared down at the envelope in my hands. Mama didn't hide this for no reason. Loretta leaned forward between the seats. And she didn't warn you for nothing either. We're going to that address. Tonight. The road stretched ahead, dark and long. Isaac turned onto the highway. Streetlights slipped past like flickers of memory. For a long time, none of us spoke. Then I whispered the name out loud. The name written on the letter. Isaac glanced at me. Who is she, you think? I stared out the window at the empty road. I don't know. Loretta tapped the back of my seat. Mama wasn't protecting you from a stranger. I can feel it. Whoever this woman is, she's connected to you. My stomach clenched. The closer we got to the address, the more the world outside changed. The suburbs faded into small towns. Then small towns faded into farmland. Then quiet country roads with long stretches of nothing. Finally, Isaac slowed the truck. We traveled down a narrow dirt road lined with tall pines. Their shadows stretched across us like long black fingers. After a few minutes, a small house appeared at the end of the drive, a soft yellow porch light glowing in the dark. Isaac parked. We sat in silence. Nobody moved. Are you ready? Isaac asked. I nodded, though my body said no. Loretta stepped out first, scanning the area like she expected trouble. Isaac helped me out of the truck. My legs felt like lead. The night was so quiet I could hear my own breathing. We walked toward the porch. A soft light glowed behind the curtains. When I raised my hand to knock, the door opened on its own. A woman stood there, older than me, maybe in her 70s. Her hair silver, long, and braided neatly. Her skin warm brown. Her eyes deep, full of something I couldn't name. When she saw me, her face broke into a slow, trembling smile. Zola, she whispered, like she had waited her entire life to say my name. Loretta stiffened beside me. Isaac glanced at her, confused. My heart pounded so hard I could barely stand. The woman covered her mouth, tears slipping down her cheeks. Then she said the words that changed everything. Baby, you finally came. I've waited 58 years for you. I couldn't breathe. Why were you waiting for me? She reached out, her hand shaking. Because I'm your father's wife, she whispered. And I'm the only one who knows the real truth about who he really was. She stepped closer, tears falling freely. And I'm the woman your mother begged never to meet. My breath vanished. The woman stepped into the porch light, her silver braids glowing softly. Loretta grabbed my arm so tightly I flinched. Isaac moved closer, ready to shield me if anything went wrong. But the woman, she only cried quietly, like the sound came from a lifetime of waiting. My voice cracked. My mother didn't want me to meet you. Why? She smiled sadly. Because she thought meeting me would break your heart. I swallowed hard. But who are you? Why did Mama hide you? Why did she say someone was waiting for me? The woman wiped her cheeks. My name is Celestine Turner. I was your father's legal wife. Loretta tensed. Isaac's brows pulled tight. I froze. Wife. That meant at the time Mama met my father. My heart splintered. Celestine stepped aside and motioned us into her warm little living room. I hesitated, but something inside me said the truth wouldn't wait another moment. We stepped inside. The house smelled like lemon tea and cedar wood. Pictures lined the walls, many of a younger Celestine, some of a man whose face I recognized immediately. My father. My knees weakened. Isaac placed a hand on my elbow to steady me. Celestine noticed. You have his eyes, baby. You always did. I stared at the picture. The face that lived only in my imagination. Now alive in a frame. He was handsome, with a soft smile and a strength behind his eyes. I felt something warm and painful bloom in my chest. Why didn't Mama tell me any of this? Celestine poured tea, though none of us touched it. She settled into her chair, hands folded. I'll tell you everything. Your father, Dorian, was a good man. Smart, kind, but he got mixed up with the wrong people before he met your mother. Dangerous people. Once he realized how deep he was in, he tried to get out. He gathered evidence. Names, crimes, locations. And he hid copies with me. My heart hammered. Mama never said any of this. Celestine nodded. She didn't know. Not at first. Loretta leaned forward. What about Mama's letter? What did she want Zola to know? Celestine's eyes softened. Your father visited your mother one last time before he disappeared. He told her everything. He begged her to protect you. But he never told her he had another family. Not because he didn't love you, but because he didn't want that truth to hurt you both. My eyes stung. So all my life, she carried that secret alone. Celestine nodded. And when he died, those same dangerous men came looking for the evidence. They thought your mother had it. They terrified her. That's why she hid everything. That's why she never sold the house. She knew the moment the property moved, they'd come knocking again. Isaac exhaled slowly. So the men who broke in tonight. Celestine nodded. They think you're the last link to Dorian's evidence. My stomach twisted. And Mama left the final piece in my hands. Celestine smiled weakly. She trusted you. She knew you'd be strong enough to decide what to do with it. Marcus spoke for the first time, his voice rough. But why were you waiting for Zola? Celestine stood and walked toward a small wooden box on her shelf. She opened it, pulled out a faded photograph, and handed it to me. It was Mama. Younger. Smiling. Holding something tiny wrapped in a blanket. Me. I gasped. How do you have this? Celestine's voice shook. Because I was there, baby. I was there when you were born. My heart stopped. Loretta's mouth fell open. What are you saying? I whispered. Celestine took my hand gently. Your father brought your mother to me when she went into early labor. He trusted no one else. He knew the people after him were watching. He knew your mama needed a safe place. Her eyes glistened. I delivered you into this world. I held you before your mama did. And when she left with you, she promised to protect you from the world he was running from. My eyes filled with tears. I didn't know whether to cry or collapse. Celestine squeezed my hand. I've been waiting ever since. Waiting in case danger ever came back. Waiting in case you ever needed me. Waiting because I loved your father too. And I promised I'd never let his child face harm alone. I covered my face with my hands, overwhelmed. Isaac knelt beside me. Zola, breathe. I'm right here. Loretta wiped her eyes. Mama didn't tell me any of that. She carried it alone. Celestine nodded. That's why she asked her to buy the house. She wanted to make sure the secret stayed close to family. Marcus sat silent, guilty, small. For once, his drama meant nothing. This was bigger than him. Bigger than all of us. Celestine leaned closer. Baby. I know you're scared. But your father didn't leave you a burden. He left you a choice. I lifted my head. What do you mean? Celestine opened her hand. Inside was another envelope, older, more fragile. This one is from your father. He wrote it for you when you were a baby. Your mother asked me to keep it safe. I think it's time. My heart pounded as I took it. Isaac squeezed my shoulder. It's okay. You're okay. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside was a letter written in a man's strong, careful handwriting. My father's handwriting. I read each word slowly, tears falling onto the page. My dearest Zola, if you are reading this, it means time has taken me somewhere you cannot follow. I made choices I wish I could undo, but you were never one of them. You are my light and my forgiveness. One day, when you learn the truth, I want you to step into your future without fear. Your mother and Celestine both love you, more than you know. If danger finds you, choose the path that leads to peace. And know this. You were wanted. You were loved. And you were never alone. I sobbed, the letter shaking in my hands. For the first time in my life, I felt the weight of my history lift just a little. Celestine rested her forehead on mine. Baby, your father loved you so deeply. He wanted you to know him. Even if only through this. Isaac wiped my tears gently. I'm proud of you. For walking into this truth. For facing all of it. Loretta whispered. Mama carried so much alone. And she did it for you. I nodded, crying harder. Then suddenly, something inside me shifted. Strength. Peace. Purpose. The storm I'd been trapped in for years finally broke. I stood up slowly and faced them all. I now know the truth about my father. I understand Mama's silence. And I understand what I have to do next. Isaac looked at me. What do you want to do? I took a long, steady breath. I'm going to protect the evidence. Finish what Mama couldn't. And I'm going to reclaim my life. Marcus whispered, Zola. Where will you go? I turned toward Isaac. Toward the door. Toward a new future waiting somewhere beyond this night. I don't know yet, I said softly. But I won't be afraid of the past anymore. Isaac smiled. Then let's walk into whatever comes next. Together. I held the letter to my chest. The truth didn't break me. It freed me. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more powerful and emotional stories like this, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification button so you never miss a new story. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I want to know who's with me. More stories are coming your way.